foodie friends, and welcome to Kitchen Chat. I'm your host, Margaret McSweeney, and I'm so glad you're joining me today in the Viking La Cornue showroom here at the Merchandise Mart. I'm with my co-host, Chef Jamie Larita, who is the creative director and brand ambassador for Viking. And we are both just so thrilled to have an icon, truly a celebrity in Chicago, Kevin Boehm, who is the co-founder of Boka Group. Welcome to Kitchen Chat.
Thank you very much. Icon, that might be a bit overstated, and it makes me sound old.
No, okay. Well, you are the star of Chicago here. But we are so excited because we are celebrating, of course, James Beard Awards, and you are nominated as this outstanding restaurateur. Congratulations. And also, I understand that the Boka Group has the most nominations, Jamie, of anyone else in Chicago.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, and it's again, it's great to have you here in our showroom. Man, Boka Group, you guys are like just, you know, have grown so much in the last couple of years. I mean, just in the last 3 years alone, you guys have gone through so many changes. Tell us about how you feel right now in the moment.
Well, it's first of all, it's been a crazy 15 years, and it even got crazier last year. We've done 7 restaurants in 19 months.
Oh my goodness!
Which I don't recommend to anyone.
Tell us why.
Well, you know what? So, I mean, listen, if you go way back when, and you know, there's been a lot of stuff in the press about how fast we've gone, but if you go to the very beginning, we're pretty deliberate about the way we started. You know, Boka opened 15 years ago in 2003, and then we waited 2 years before we opened a second restaurant, 3 years before we opened a third, and another 2.5 years before we opened a fourth. So we felt like we paced it really well.
Right.
And then from the time Girl and the Goat opened until Little Goat, we opened 7 in 3 years. Just because we could shake things up a bit.
Yeah, you sure did.
You did.
And it was a time in the world when the economy had kind of stalled. And we just saw kind of a slingshot moment where nobody else was kind of opening up anything. And we said, yeah, who are we going to be? Are we going to be the guys that just open up a few restaurants every few years, or do we want to really make a big mark and turn this into a bigger group? And that's kind of what we did.
Well, it's funny because even during that time when the James Beard Awards moved to Chicago, and the Chicago was getting all this notoriety for being the best food city in America.
Which I agree with.
Yeah, I agree with too. I mean, that's another point, Margaret, I want to talk to you about, you guys about. You know, we have this culture in Chicago. It's very, you know, it's a fraternal thing. It's very much a group of people that support each other, unlike in other big food cities. I'm from New York.
I totally agree with that. I like the relationship between the restaurants here. I mean, you know, the guys that let us entertain you are my friends. The guys that went off hospitality are my friends. I'm friends with Brendan Sodikoff from Hog Salt. I like that part of it. That's why I chose Chicago. Chicago's a choice for me. You know, when I started in the Panhandle of Florida. And so to me, the dream always was, when I had this little 6-table restaurant in 1993, was maybe someday I'll be able to have a restaurant in Chicago and be able to sit at a table with like the smartest restaurant people around.
So tell me once again, and maybe I missed it, why Chicago?
Well, I grew up in Illinois. I grew up in Springfield, Illinois, and I wanted to be a restaurateur when I was 10 years old. I told my parents when I was 10 years old that I wanted. I don't know how I knew. My parents had nothing to do with the restaurant business. I think I was intrigued by things that wealthy people ate, like watching like Dynasty and saying, well,
I get that.
Why are they eating caviar, drinking champagne? What is it about? What's the magic about those things?
We just bonded. We just bonded on that. Yeah, we just bonded
that made people want to eat those things. I just was fascinated by it. And at the same time, I felt like I was the guy who could throw a great party. And so that was the original basis for kind of how I felt about that stuff. But I didn't know what were great restaurant cities back then. Originally, when I went down to Florida, I just thought, well, it's on the water, it's close to fish, there are tourists there, there are busy restaurants, great, I'll go there. But then as you figure things out, you're like, okay, I get it. New York, Chicago, San Francisco. That's what it was in the mid-90s. Those were the 3 cities. And so I looked at those 3 cities and I looked at the landscape and I looked at who I was, and I was a Chicagoan. I was a Midwestern guy. And Midwestern people were really concerned about hospitality and really wanted to take care of people. And really, If you don't have a basis of that, if you don't want to take care of people, I think you're probably in the wrong business.
Correct.
So to me, that's who Chicagoans were. So that's why I came here. So that was always the dream. And I opened up a couple in Florida, and I sold them, and I came up to Chicago, and I'm like, oops, can't afford the city yet. Then I opened up a restaurant in my hometown of Springfield, Illinois, and I sold it. And I came up here, and I'm like, oops, maybe not ready yet. And then I went to Nashville and opened up a restaurant, and then I came here. So all of that was kind of like getting my bachelor's degree, getting my master's degree, and then I'm like, okay,
Timing.
let's see if I can hit a major league curveball. That was kind of my thought for Chicago. And so when we opened up Boka and I met Rob Katz, and we decided to partner together, literally that first meeting of us having a cup of coffee together was like, okay, well, let's open one restaurant together. What's the worst that could happen? And so glad that we chose Chicago because there are people that embrace great food. They understand great food and understand great hospitality. And I think in this town, if you open up something that's good, you'll find a customer base.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter where you put it, they'll come and they'll find you.
You said a key word to me that I believe in, and in my business and in my life, it's really about taking care of people, and it's about hospitality. Every time I come into one of your restaurants, that's, not only do you have it down from the famous chef and the well-known chef, the great decor, but it's the hospitable way that you guys do it that I leave with. It's the hospitality factor, and it just resonates big time.
And I love that there's a bit of Southern hospitality in your background. I grew up
clutch
in
your pearls. You clutched the pearls. I saw you do it.
It's true.
I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, as you know, and I understand that a wonderful chef from Birmingham, Alabama, actually had an influence.
Yeah, two of the
on your journey.
meals that shaped my life as a very young restaurateur. One was with Gunther Seeger in Atlanta when he was at the Ritz-Carlton at Buckhead, and another was with Frank Stitt, at Highlands and Bottega. And he came down and did a dinner too at Creola's in Grayton Beach, Florida. And I remember going to that and having 5 minutes with him and talking to him. And what I marveled at years later and didn't quite understand back then was it was harder for him to do what he did in Birmingham than it is doing it in a big city. When you're in a big city, you have a ton of people that are sourcing food that you can piggyback and do all these things. And you have a giant talent pool. He opened this unbelievable world-class restaurant in Birmingham. And so I've just been a huge fan of Frank Stitt my whole life. So.
Oh, and Kitchen Chat, we love him on here, and I interviewed him last year, Jamie, on Kitchen Chat, and I love that Highlands Bar and Grill, that he's up for his 10th nomination. I am just hoping this is the year that Highlands Bar and Grill. Absolutely. But on a side note, and you'll find this interesting, Jamie, so I grew up in Birmingham, and it was just a desert of any type of fine dining. And my dad, and this is the reason I do Kitchen Chat, is to honor him, started a gourmet club in Birmingham, just to bring that palate. But we were just thrilled when Chef Frank Stitt opened up Highlands Bar and Grill.
That's amazing. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for him this
Yes, absolutely. But you have been through such a journey from Seaside to Chicago, and I was watching a video that I found very interesting, Kevin, on the James Beard website where you talked about, and I never heard the story, your hair catching on fire. Yeah. Can you share with us what happened in the kitchen for that?
My third day of being a restaurant owner, I reached down to put a piece of bread in the oven, and the pilot light had gone out. And so I reached down to put it in, and the oven blew up in my face and caught my hair on fire.
What year was this?
1993.
Wait, 93. So what hairstyle did you have? Did you have like really long?
You know what? I had. So you know what it was? It's kind of like this hairstyle, but even longer. It was so long it like went all the way back, and like the hair would like fall on my face, which actually saved me because I reached down and like the hair probably fell in front of my face and it caught my hair on fire, and I was so bummed because, well, first of all, I was on fire, so that's a bummer.
You still are. You still are.
Look at it.
And as a bald man, I'm sitting here thinking, first of all, you got a great profile. This guy's got actor looks, right? Doesn't he look like he's like Cary Grant? But your bangs were all long and on fire, and this bald guy's being like...
Well, your beard could catch on fire.
Correct. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm growing it for the Beard Awards.
There we go. Nice. Well, my partner at the time, Teresa, had to put my hair out. And then I spent the night in a Destin hospital. My entire face. My whole entire face was singed. I went in an ambulance to the hospital. So my face was completely scabbed over, and then I had to basically shave my hair, which was brutal.
Poor Kevin.
I remember not
Poor
knowing.
Kevin.
I remember not knowing how bad my face was, and I was in a hospital room with an older man, and his grandson ran in, and he ran in and gave his grandfather a hug, and then he turned to me and he goes, "Whoa, what happened to that guy?" And I'm like, "Oh." I hadn't seen my face yet, and I'm like, "Oh, that's not good."
That's not good.
But it healed, and everything was fine. But that was the beginning of my career.
Yes.
Was this oven blowing up in my face, kind of not knowing what I was doing, and this little restaurant hidden in the shade of Seaside. But I was kind of lucky that it was hidden in the shade and only had 6 tables, because I could make all these mistakes and kind of learn things the right way. And kind of what I learned the most there was that my own personal brand of hospitality, which I think was pretty authentic, worked, because I really wanted to be nice to people. I mean, on a daily basis, I was a nice kid, and I really wanted people to be happy in my restaurant. I took it really personally, and so I figured out, okay, this works.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the Lord calling. I'll be right. That's the Lord calling.
Table for two.
Yeah, exactly.
Lazy Days Cafe. That was the name of the first place.
Wow, what a beginning! What a launch!
It was a crazy beginning, and so I ended up selling that restaurant, and I opened up a wine bar, sushi bar, rock and roll bar.
Love it.
Live rock and roll 7 nights a week, sushi till 2 in the morning, and we did rock and roll every single night.
I
I
love
was
Hey,
like,
now you talk my language.
I was like, what are my favorite things? 100 wines by the glass, sushi all night long, and live rock and roll. And people in 1994 at Seaside were like, what?
We are bonding on so
Wow.
many levels. I mean, this is all about fun. You seem like
Yes.
you're having a really good time. You're living your dream. You
Yes.
talked about the past, right? So let's go to like new. What's new?
Yes.
What's new? So there's a lot that's new. Like I said, we opened up a lot of restaurants in a short amount of time. The very newest restaurant is Belmore, which is Jimmy Papadopoulos is a great chef. He was at Bohemian House. He was Eater's Chef of the Year. And there's a moment about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, where Lee Wolin, who's our chef partner at Boka, nominated for a Beard Award this year, came to us, and also our chef at Somerset, came to us and he goes, hey, hey man, that guy at Bohemian House can cook. Now, Lee doesn't say a lot of that. He doesn't throw around a lot of compliments. I was like, really? So Rob and I were like, oh, that's interesting. And he goes, and then a couple months later, he was like, hey, Jimmy'd really like to meet with you guys. Do you think you'd meet with him and give him some direction? And we go, we'll meet with him, but we're not opening up a restaurant with him. There's no way we can add another restaurant to the schedule, but we'll meet with him. And we met with him, and he just was such a beautiful soul. We just loved him so much. We were like, you know what? Why don't you cook for us? Just, and we told Lee, it's out of curiosity. We'll give him some more direction. We're not opening up a restaurant. There's no way we can open a restaurant with him. And you learn a lot from a chef when you do a tasting with him. We've done, 300 tastings with chefs over the years. The way they dress for the tasting, the way they write their menu, the way they clean their kitchen up, the way they work well with others. If they're doing it out of one of our kitchens, he did it out of Boka's kitchen. And he came with this piece of parchment that he had burned the edges of, and he did a wax stamp in the corner that had a B for Boka on it. And he dressed impeccably, and everybody loved him in the kitchen. And the first bite we had was this oyster pie that's become kind of Instagram famous. And we were just like, we ate the first dish, and we're like, if any of the other courses are anywhere near this, we're doing a restaurant with him. We're sliding it in.
He's like, I'll show you. You're not opening up
So
a
that's
restaurant.
Belmore. We put the team together that we use a lot. Karen Harold from Studio K, who designed a beautiful, gorgeous restaurant that looks like a French manor. And we decided to do something fancy again. We wanted to do something elevated and elegant, and it's kind of fairly feminine looking inside, which is lovely. And we're doing lunch and dinner there, and it's killing it. So that makes me happy, and it makes me happy for Jimmy, because I think it's changed Jimmy's life, and he's really happy. And
What a great opportunity for a chef to be able to go into your organization, knowing that you have the infrastructure to allow them to be and stay creative. I think as a personal, I'm a chef myself, and to have an opportunity like that as a chef who doesn't, sometimes they're just artists and they need the stage and the opportunity to create. You guys give them that stage, and knowing that they have that backbone of infrastructure it's got to be a relief for them.
I think so. I think that's part of the pitch when we have these conversations. Is like, listen, we believe in your talent. We don't want to change anything about it. We want you to cook your food. How about we build this around it? And Rob and I are very into design. So then going through that process with them, where they're part of this design process, and then obviously we're really into hospitality, so we're really great at training. So we have this backbone of training for them, and then they can just go and create and be in the kitchen.
Oh, that's heaven.
Be in test kitchen
That's
for
heaven.
6
Yeah,
months.
that's heaven. That's heaven.
And then we can build this thing together. And I mean, I really truly believe that if you're doing it right, opening up of a restaurant should be fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's all about energy.
It's also. Can I say curse word on here?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, she'll clutch your pearls. Here, ready? Say it.
Okay.
It's also a bitch.
Bitch. First time bitch was said on Kitchen Chat, and I'm glad it came from him.
It's also going to test you.
Yes.
It is if you're doing it right. But what doesn't in life?
Right.
Anything worth having in life has a pay-in process.
Absolutely.
It's like paying into a pension. It's
Right.
like there'll be redemption at the end of it. I promise you. But if you want to open up something great, it's going to test you.
Yeah.
So I'm actually relieved when you're opening it up at the beginning and something happens, or I find myself sitting alone in the corner crying. There is a picture of me that exists.
Where is it?
It's on my Facebook.
We're gonna
it's on
need
my
that.
Facebook.
We're gonna
of
flash
me
it.
sitting
We're gonna
on the
flash it.
me sitting on the stairs. The picture right here. Sitting on the stairs of Belena, crying during that opening.
Wow. That's when you know.
Wow.
I'm
So,
an emotional kid.
Yeah,
I'm an
yes,
emotional
but
kid.
that
is a huge-
Sagittarius.
so I always talk about emotions as ingredients, and fear to me is a motivator. Were you ever afraid?
I'm still afraid.
Yeah, good. Because I always say, if you don't wake up afraid and you're not using the fear as your motivation, you're not doing the right thing.
I used to say that if I wake up and I'm just slightly queasy, then I'm doing enough. And if I'm sick to my stomach, I'm doing too much.
Right, I like that.
I don't even want to be queasy anymore. But I do. I think every restaurant that opens up, that there's a sense of fear for myself and for Rob.
Sure.
And
Rob is great.
Yes.
He's amazing.
They're the dynamic duo.
And Rob is, I think Rob probably wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning more than I do, but I still I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning every night, but that's
So
just
do
part
I.
of my own crazy sleep pattern.
3:15, done. Every night.
Oh, wow.
Me between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
You
every
should text
single
each
day of
other.
my life.
Wow.
3:15 to 3:33, I'm up. Every
Wow.
night, every day.
You know what? I'm like,
It's the heavens
I'm
song.
like
You know
there.
what I've learned about that is that there is a frequency that wakes you up, and a lot of it is the energy that you're creating around you. You're in tune. That's all good news.
You know what
That's
could
all good.
be, and I want to give this person some love because I don't think I've ever given this person love. Like
Let's
in an
do it. Let's
interview
give a
or
little
something
love.
like this. Is my first real chef, my chef at Indigo Wine Bar in Seaside, Florida, in 1995 passed away.
This is what I'm talking about, kids. You just gave me chills.
He was 27 years old. I was the last person to be with him. We had a Heineken at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he went home and he had a heart attack in the middle of the night. He had a heart condition he didn't know about, and that was the most shocking thing that ever happened to me. So maybe it's Glenn.
It's not even amazing.
Maybe it's
I have these chills all over my body.
Maybe it's Glenn telling me I did okay.
You did okay.
I call these hugs from
Hugs
heaven.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Glenn, I was always sad for Glenn because he was a great chef and he was doing all his work before really the internet age. He was very young. So you Google Glenn Fullen chef and nothing comes up.
Oh, well,
So
we will say his name here.
there you go,
Glenn.
Glenn Fullen.
Yes.
There you go.
And
God
and he
bless.
had a great impact on your.
He did.
Career,
He did. He taught me a
yes.
lot.
So I have
That is
another
special.
question for you that I think we all can all can answer. So you get to if you don't mind me asking, how old are you right now?
I'm 47.
47, so you're
Yes.
right in that zone. So you're going to be 50. Wait till you turn 50, because then you're going to say another swear.
Life is just beginning.
When you turn 50, it's the F at 50s.
My 50th birthday party is going to be
I want to be there.
Oh,
We're gonna be
yes.
there.
one
Yes.
heck of a party.
Yes.
So when you turn
no
50,
cameras.
no cameras.
when you
no
turn
cameras
50,
all.
I can just tell you, when you turn 50, I never knew my age, ever. I would get my age wrong all the time and never ever thought about it until I turned 50. When you turn 50, it's a game changer. It's like all the things that it's all about, like, I call it the F at 50s. And you just basically turn around and you do things that are really, really important to you, and you want to take care of others, but you start to get a little self-ish at 50, more things about yourself. So that said, with all this success and all this work and all this energy that you're putting forth, what do you do for Kevin?
It's a good question. So 2017 was a brutally hard year. We all of those openings, I decided to move at the same time. Belena, one of our restaurants, burned down.
Yeah, we saw that.
I had a close friend that passed away. There's a lot of stuff that was happening, and I came out of it with this kind of anxiety and stress mix that was really bad. And I think that happiness is an active pursuit. It's not a passive one.
Right.
You just can't sit there and say, "Hey, happiness, come grab me."
Right.
So I came out of it looking at life in a different way, and a few things that I've adopted are everything in 17. I was either thinking about something that had just happened or worrying about something that was about to happen. And I lost all these moments by not being present.
Yes.
And so my big thing right now is anytime I'm in something, it's like the only moment that's important is this moment right now.
Exactly.
I'm in it right now. This moment sitting with you two right now is the only thing that exists and the only thing that's important right now. And that's been kind of my theme.
So important.
For this year, and I found a lot of peace in it.
Oh my God.
And so
It's amazing.
So a combination of that and finding a yoga mat at least 3 times a week.
Very important.
And being in a gym, another 2 days a week on top of that. The gym's really, really important to me. Finding some time to sweat, being with my family.
You have the most beautiful children in
Yes.
life.
Thank you.
I saw this vacation you were on recently.
We were in Bora Bora,
Which was like,
Christmas.
I'm looking at those pictures and I'm like, I've always wanted to go, and I'm like, oh my God, that's my dream vacation.
It's hard to get to.
How was it?
Ain't easy to get to. That's that earning process again.
Yeah.
You got to earn it to get to Bora Bora. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And what do you eat? What's
Yeah, I
your
was
diet
about to
like?
say, what was the
So
food?
I eat a lot of the way that I eat a lot of Japanese food. I say that Rob and I, of the 14 lunches and dinners I have throughout the week, I would say 6 of them are Japanese.
Wow.
So I eat pretty clean, very healthy.
Yes.
Do I have some cheat meals?
What is your favorite cheat food?
Oh gosh, it's a really good question. My guilty pleasure that I don't tell anybody about, like that I still crave to this day, that comes from my childhood, is peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I still love
that.
great bread, peanut butter,
Crunchy
good
or
preserves,
smooth?
crunchy for sure. That is, but listen, not everything that we serve at all our restaurants is healthy.
Right.
Of course.
Is it
I'm
emotionally healthy?
gonna go eat some beautiful, unhealthy Chinese food at Duck Duck Goat. It's gonna be super tasty.
With Chef Stephanie.
So listen, I love bread. When I'm eating really healthy, I don't eat much bread. So when I'm cheating, I'm definitely gonna get some
Pizza.
bread.
Pizza's my demon.
Pizza.
Pizza's my demon. Pizza is life.
It's so good.
Pizza is life.
It's so good. Last
that is
night,
true.
well, I'll give you a story. Last
Yes.
night, the kids got pizza. We live in Gold Coast, and Lou Malnati's is right there, and my wife went and picked up some pizza for the kids.
So you're in the danger zone as far as I'm concerned.
I go, I'm not eating that. So I ordered some sushi, and so I have sushi, and sitting on the counter is some Lou Malnati's pizza and some mozzarella sticks. And then
In your midst.
next to it is my sashimi plate. And yes, I had 2 bites of some pizza. I had to.
You had to. You can't. That's torture. I think deprivation
I deserved
is the
it.
worst
You
form of
absolutely-
starvation. When you
I
deprive
looked at that
yourself
pizza
like
and I
that.
said the only thing that's important right now is this pizza right here.
So I've been
Yes.
juicing, Kevin, for the past 6 weeks. I lost probably 18 pounds
Congratulations.
in the last, and I know that feeling. But when you're dedicated to your health like that, everything changes, right? Everything. When
does.
you're in tune to like how you feel, and you're really like polishing your temple, it's there's nothing better than, especially at when you start getting up there in age, it's like you start feeling really, really good, and then you're good all the way around.
Yeah,
so I think
you only get
Very
one of
good.
these.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So what you put in, you surely get out at the end. So.
That's right.
Yes. So back to Chicago.
Yes.
I know in our conversation 4 years ago, you had hinted that there might be a possibility outside of Chicago. Has anything happened with that?
We're
what's
looking.
on? Okay.
So that would be
All
the
right.
next.
That
We
would
went
be the
through
next.
new, we went through
Yes.
the now and the moment. Now
Yes.
what's the next?
Yeah, so we're
Absolutely.
looking, and we have narrowed it down to a couple cities,
Oh.
and we're looking very strongly at a couple of deals right now.
Wow.
So I think that
That's
soon there might be
exciting.
something
Great.
Good. We will.
announced. Maybe
This
soon.
is exciting.
Well, I feel like it's, I've always seen, from afar, I'm always out there working, and Margaret, of course, is always out there passionately interviewing foodies and chefs and gourmands around the world. You are definitely one of the people that I look at and say, I respect what you do. I love what you do, because as a chef and as an entertainer and as somebody that loves hospitality myself, I give that to the celebrities that I work with on the road and now here in the Merchandise Mart. I look at you as somebody that I say, I would have done it just like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I am also a bitch when it comes to the details. Clutch the pearls again. When it comes to details, and you
Yes.
understand that, then this is why you're so successful, because you get it. It's all everything in tune. The food, the mood, the music, the style, the energy, and the kindness that you have. Everybody that works for you seems to share that mentality. You're spreading and it was funny, I met you guys not too long ago, I think it was last year at your party, and you guys are out there on the dance floor celebrating. How important is that in life, to get out there and dance, right?
100%.
I'm trying to get him on Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing
Dancing with the food stars.
Hopefully there'll be some dancing this year.
Dancing with the food
Absolutely.
stars.
We'd love to bring home one this year.
Dancing with the food
Absolutely.
stars.
4 nominations this year. Boka's up for Best Service in America. Meg Gallus is up for Best Pastry Chef in America. Lee Wollen's up for Best Chef Great Lakes. And then
Do you
Oh,
pinch
this
yourself?
is great.
Do you
And
pinch
you as
yourself?
outstanding
Yeah,
restaurant.
yeah.
I mean, you must be like, this is like living the dream.
Come on.
This is
the kid with his hair on fire in Panama City, in Seaside,
Visual.
Florida, at a 6-table restaurant. They were plastic resin tables. I mean, yeah, I pinch myself all the time.
Good for
This
you.
is great.
Oh, congratulations.
I've obviously been super fortunate, and you said something about the people that work for us. I mean, we've always hired the same way. Do we like them? Do we think they're smart? And that's gone a long way. So I think most everybody around us that works in the company was hired on those credentials.
And you're
So you gotta
attracting,
feel
you're
that
attracting that person. You're attracting that culture. I'm a big believer in the energy and the people. Just like here in our showroom, by the way. What do you think of our showroom?
Yes.
Listen, this thing is gorgeous.
I'm sure you guys use Middleby products in all of your restaurants. Do you have jade?
Jade,
and things like
yes.
We have a lot of jade. So the kitchen suite at Girl and the Goat, famous kitchen suite at Girl and the Goat, all jade.
Great.
Custom jade fire open hearth grill at GT Prime.
Wow.
Jade and the Boka kitchen.
Wait till you see
Yes.
some of the new innovation that we're coming out with that you're going to freak. There's a couple of things. Are you going to be at the restaurant show this year?
I will be. Yeah, at some point. I always walk through.
Yeah,
at
make
some
sure you
point.
stop by the Middleby
Yeah.
booth and you'll see some really fun stuff that's happening here. And
Yes.
well, thank you.
This is beautiful.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yes. And so I always like to end Kitchen Chat with 3 tips for the home chef.
Oh.
Do you like to cook? I didn't even ask you. Did you like to cook?
You know what? It's funny. I do like to cook. But there were so many years where I didn't.
Yes.
If you go back to the beginning, my first restaurant was 2 people. My second restaurant, there was just 2 sushi chefs, so I had them teach me how to roll. If we got really busy, that I could roll. And back then, I was intrigued by it and liked the process and that sort of thing. And now my wife's taken over the cooking duties, and I only cook every once in a while.
Let me ask you
But-
a favor, Margaret.
Yeah.
Can I
Yes.
also think about those 3 tips and then
Yes.
add one tip that if somebody's watching this that is that person that's about to set their hair on fire, it's the person that has the dream, the person that has that guttural knowledge within themselves, because I think you're born with that.
Yes.
You don't have to go to a great college. You don't have to graduate from high school. You just have to have that gut.
Yes.
And if there's one thing you can speak to that person after you give those 3 tips that you would like to say based on and learned from all the experience that you have to make that person make that move, what would it be?
To make that move
Great.
into the restaurant business?
Whatever it is. It
To
could be
whatever.
to
Yes,
whatever.
whatever their dream
Well,
is.
here's my
Yes.
tips. I love to entertain too. The first thing is, just like in restaurants, sourcing is unbelievably important. So
sourcing.
Yes.
where you're getting your food from,
Matters.
where you're getting your fresh fish from, where you're getting your produce from. Go to Green City Market, support local farmers, and buy great food, because that's where that's
Yeah, it's true.
90% of it. 2, I think a lot of times people throw big dinner parties, people come and they really want to be impressive, and maybe they pull out the 11 Madison Park cookbook and they want to master one of Daniel's. I think sometimes cooking simple food, especially if you have great product, really, really well is how you're going to impress people.
I got my
Right.
heart.
Seasoned correctly.
My heart with wings. Keep it simple.
keep it simple.
Isn't that always the way?
Yes, very true.
Use great product.
So
And
that's
then
2.
Take your time.
Take your time.
Because what
Okay.
about God's trains?
Run on time.
I'm
My
going to get a
dad would
tattoo
say
across
that.
my forehead. Margaret says about time. She says God's trains run on time. And just when you think that train is not in sight, it comes around the bend, and there comes the opportunity. So those are 3 amazing tips.
Yes.
Now give that guy or that girl or that
Yes.
person the motivation. One thing. I feel like doing all this. It's like it's just that.
You know, I love Jim Carrey. I met him when he filmed the Truman Show. We got to
I love him too.
We got to cater the dailies. And
I never met him.
He's got a. Google him. Google like Jim Carrey and meditation and Buddhism, and
He's
he
fantastic.
says a lot of great stuff.
He sure does.
One of the things he says, he goes, he watched his father, who really was this very funny guy who wanted to be an actor, who became an accountant, and his dad lost his job, and they were homeless for a while. And he said the biggest thing he took out of that was, you can be a failure at something you didn't want to do. So why not go for something that you actually want to do? Build a life around something that you want to do. And I don't think people think about it enough. Like, what do I want to do? Take money away, take education away, take talent away. What is this thing? And can I get there then? I mean, as a young kid in Springfield, Illinois, I didn't have any money when I dropped out of college. I had $500. What I wanted to do was open up a restaurant. I wrote something down. I still have the spiral notebook, and it says on it, enough, move to Florida, work 2 jobs, save everything you make off one, bank live off of the other, and eventually you should have enough money to open up a restaurant. I didn't know if that was 25 years or if it was 2 or 3. I didn't know how long that was going to take me. I didn't even know how much a restaurant cost, but I was like, kind of makes sense to me. And that's actually exactly what happened.
Wow.
So
and how many restaurants have you opened up since then? Since you wrote Enough?
25 or 26.
See, now it's 26, and here we are. This is another question. I know we were trying to end the show, but I have another question, quick one for you. So in my mind, Chicago being the city that it is, the food city that it is, and all of these restaurants, all of these choices, sometimes I'm looking at that and I'm in my home and I'm like, God, there's so many places I can go tonight. And by the time you make a decision as to where you want to go, you wind up staying home. Do you think, especially in Chicago with the restaurant bubble just growing and growing and growing, is there an end to that? Is there a bubble that will burst? How do you feel about that?
I think it kind of bursted a little bit last year.
Yeah.
I think you saw a lot
I feel the
of
same
people,
way. That's why I asked you the question.
I think you saw a lot of people close last year. I think that there's a lot of restaurants open in a short amount of time.
Right.
It wasn't sustainable.
Right.
Obviously, we're part of the problem. We're opening up a lot of restaurants. We have one at Wrigley Field that opens in 17 days.
Wow.
Oh my goodness,
What's the
that's
name of it?
great.
Dutch and Docks. It's the corner of Clark and Addison, right across from the historic marquee, 300 feet from home plate.
Wow.
Chris Pandel, our chef from
Yes,
Millennium from Swift and
yes.
Sons, is the executive chef.
That's not going to
That
suck.
is great.
That won't suck.
But then we go. Then it's another year before something else opens. So it's time. We even said, you know what, we're going to back it up. We're going to slow it down a little bit.
I'm so glad you
Yes.
answered that question. That was and you're an honest man. That was a very honest answer. I feel the same way about that. And I felt like last year was that year as well. You saw so many restaurants just go by the wayside. It's just like there could be, there's a bubble that does burst sometimes.
And
So
it's
thank
a
you.
great restaurant. I mean, I think there's at least 3 or 4 Michelin-starred restaurants that closed.
Yeah,
which
Curtis
which
Duffy,
is a bummer.
All of that, yes.
Well, between Grace and 16, that was 5 Michelin stars right
Yeah.
there.
No, I agree.
Wow.
So-
Wow. But more stars on the horizon,
Yes.
and you are creating them, and you are a star, and we're just so
So don't forget to
honored.
stop and see. Margaret and I are going to be on the red carpet this year for the James
Yes.
Beard Awards.
I will
Stop by
be there.
and
I
stop
will
by
stop. I will
and tug on
stop.
the beard, and we're looking
I will
forward to
stop
seeing
and
all
say
you people
hello.
there.
You can ask me what I'm wearing. We'll
Yes.
do
Totally going to do that. We're going to be Ryan Seacrest and Juliana Rancic on the carpet this year. So. You've been an amazing
Yes.
guest. I loved
Thank you very much.
hearing your story. I feel like we resonate, all of us resonate
Yes.
on, you know, the ingredient being passion and kindness. And you're a very cool person, so thanks for coming.
Thanks for letting me sit in this incredibly gorgeous space. Come down and see them at the Viking Show.
Suite 137.
Yes, Suite
Suite 137. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much again, Kevin,
Thanks for
for
having
being on Kitchen Chat. And thank you, dear foodie friends, for joining the fun here in the Viking La Cornue showroom. Please make sure you visit kitchenchat.info, also vikingrange.com for more inspiration in your kitchen. And check out Boka. Please come to Chicago and check out the wonderful restaurants here. And always remember to take a moment and savor the day.